Alright everybody, welcome to the Nightmare Before Christmas Q&A. Before we get started, as always, if I did not answer a question from you, or if you feel like I missed you, that's because more than likely I probably did, because YouTube probably marked it as spam, or it didn't show up on my, on the page I'm reading it on. So I do apologize for that. So, yeah, it's not my fault, it's just YouTube would be a dick sometimes. So yeah, if I missed a question you asked, sorry, but that was YouTube's fault. Anyway, let's get on with the questions. Starting off with Robert Larson. First question is, what is your favorite song from the movie? Favorite song from the movie? I really like all of them, I really do. Yeah, I can't pick one. I really can't pick a favorite for me. Really can't. I know that sounds like a cop-out, but it's true. There's really not a song on there I don't like. And I can't really pick a favorite because they're all really good. So, yeah, unfortunately I can't answer that one. Second question is, what would you think of a Nightmare Before Christmas Invader Zim crossover? I think that would be a lot of fun. I think there are some of those out there somewhere, of Invader Zim meeting Jack and all of them. I think that would be a lot of fun, because Zim would fit right in. Zim, his design just screams like a very Tim Burton-esque creation, so I can totally see him and Gurr, especially Gaz. Gaz would fit right in as well. Sorry, drinking something. But yeah, I think it would be really cool to see how they'd all, because again, they would fit right in. I think that's the best you could do. I don't know exactly what the story would be, because again, I can't really think of a crossover off the top of my head, so yeah. And your final question is, what would you think of a Nightmare Before Christmas Ruby Gloom crossover? Now, I have watched Ruby Gloom on YouTube. There's a few episodes here and there, and I do like it. I think it's a really fun show. It's cutesy. So, I mean, if I watch MLP, I can watch Ruby Gloom. It's up for grabs. But Ruby Gloom, I watched first before MLP, and it's really nice. Misery's my favorite character on the show, and that, again, these are characters that could fit right into the show. I mean, I think it would just be funny, like, Gloomville is just a part of Halloween Town. It's just part of that world. I just imagine it's on the opposite side. Like, if you go far enough, you'll find your way to Gloomville. And, man, it would just be so funny. Because, again, those characters fit right in with the Nightmare Before Christmas characters. I think it just makes sense. So, yeah, thank you for those questions, Robert Larson. And next questions come from James Fan 1991. First question is, Oogie Boogie is one of my top 10 favorite villains. What do you think of him and his villain song? I think he's really cool. I think making the Boogeyman literally out of bugs and all this nasty stuff is just a really cool concept. The Oogie Boogie song is really good. I think it's a very nice little villain song, and the voice actor for Oogie is always happy to just sing it all the time. He's a blues player, and blues singer, and it's always just so much fun to see him because he's always happy to do the song, and he's very much in love with the character. But yeah, Oogie is a very cool villain. I think I would put him I don't know if I would put him in my top 10 favorite Disney villains, but he would be, like, maybe if I did, like, he would definitely be in the high 30s. Like, if I did top 20, he would probably be around, I'd say maybe he would just be shy of making it the top 10. Maybe at number 11. He would be at number 11. So if I ever did a top 20 Disney villains, which I think I've done, but I took it down because I didn't agree with the list. So maybe if I ever do that again, maybe if I ever do, like, top 20 Disney villains, maybe he'll be on there as, like, maybe number 11 or something. I don't know. But I do really like him as a villain. Second question is, what do you think of a Nightmare Before Christmas Doctor Who crossover? Nightmare Before Christmas Doctor Who crossover. Something like if the Weeping Angels invaded Halloween Town and the Doctor and Jack had to team up to stop them from taking over the other holiday towns. That'd be really fun, seeing the Angels, because again, the Angels are something that you could see as, you know, like, just statues, and there are a lot of statues in Halloween Town. So you would just see them, like, they would fit right in, just standing there and looking all evil. But here's the thing, I think would they go after the monsters? Because most of them are undead, and you can't really take time away from an undead creature, can you? Unless they're immortal, then they got all the time in the world. So that's that is interesting. It would be that's something to think on. Honestly, that is really something I would honestly think on. So your next... Oh, wait. So thank you for those questions, James Fan. Next questions come from King Nazaru, who asks, how would you feel if Excalibur from Soul Eater, Jack, and Genie did a trio number of You Never Had a Friend Like Me? I'd really like it. But of course, Excalibur would be a prick and try to take the whole song for himself and call Jack and Genie a fool. Exactly. That's exactly how it would go. Second question is... what do you think if the Daedric Prince and Princess, the morally ambiguous gods from the Elder Scroll games, decide to do a mix-up holidays just for a divine prank? Oh, it would be terrible. Oh, God. Oh, no. I can't even imagine that, because those two are evil. Oh, no. I can't even imagine what they would honestly do. Oh, I can't even think. And your third question is, what advice do you think Jesus would give to Jack? I think Jesus would go up to Jack at his lowest point, walk up to him, sit down next to him, and go, dude, don't ever do this again. Seriously, you really dropped the ball on this whole deal. You're lucky Santa fixed all this, because really it's my holiday, and you completely just dropped the ball. I mean, we had the whole situation's foobar. It was almost foobar if Santa didn't fix everything. Don't do this again. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, King Nazaru. Jason Voorhees 2011 asks, out of all the monsters in Halloween Town, which one do you think has the best design and why? Ooh, tough question. Tough question. I think out of all the monsters... I think my personal favorite designs for the monsters are... There's one I can't even describe. He's like a little short guy. He doesn't even really have a mouth. He just has a top half, and the whole bottom half of his jaw is like one circular bowl. And when he talks, it just pops up like a little Pez dispenser. And he's got these little tentacles on his head. I like the design for the devil-looking character. I think he's well designed. He's got that long, pointed nose. There are a lot of really good designs in there. The tree is the hanging tree is a really good design. The witches are a really good design. Man, just a lot of good designs in Nightmare Before Christmas, monster-wise. Even Oogie Boogie and the main characters are very well designed. So yeah. But if I had to choose, it would just be that monster with the pop-up head, with the top half of with the pop-up and the tentacles on his head. I don't even think he was named. He's the one that, made the hat out of the bat. That's the one I'm talking about. So, thank you for that question, Jason. Next question comes from the Omnitron12345, who first question is, what do you think would happen if the cast of Soul Eater found themselves in Halloween Town? I think it would work again very well, because again, there's an award-winning AMV with Marilyn Manson's rendition of This Is Halloween for Soul Eater, and again, those characters look like you could clearly tell Nightmare Before Christmas had a hand in helping the creators of Soul Eater design that world, or at least the writer of the manga helped design that world. I mean, if you look at it, be like, yeah, this looks like something out of Halloween Town. Even the moon, you can see like that would be something in Halloween Town. But yeah, I think it would just be fun to see. I think it would be so much fun to see, Maka, Soul, Death Jr., and all of the other, just see them in Halloween Town and just feel like, man, we're not like totally outcasts here. We're the normal looking ones in this world. Oh, that'd be so much fun. I think that would. I think especially Soul would have the most fun. Soul would have the most fun, and Death Jr. would just be like, everything has no order. Oh my god, what is that line doing there? Why is everything crooked? Everything had to be organized. Oh, poor Death Jr. He would have a goddamn heart attack. Poor Jr. But yeah. So, your second question is, would you want to see Jack and Sally on Once Upon a Time, provided you actually watch it? And how and if so, how do you think they would do it? Well, I think it would be cool to see Jack and Sally on Once Upon a Time, but here's the thing. They're not really fairy tale characters at all. I mean, we got the characters from Frozen because there's a loophole of, yeah, it's actually based on a Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale. So, that's why we got Elsa. I mean, Anna and Kristoff were, they were from the movie. Oh, they're from the Disney movie, and it's based off of a fairy tale, so we can do that. So, unfortunately, I don't think, but Jack and Sally are from Nightmare Before Christmas, which is not a fairy tale. Really, it's not at all. But the thing is that if they were to do it, and again, I've been meaning to watch it Once Upon a Time. I know there's a lot of seasons on Netflix. It's been something I've been meaning to watch for the longest time, but I haven't really had a chance to watch. Like, it's on my to-do list of things. Once Upon a Time is like something, because I know it's loosely based off of Bill Willingham's Vertigo Comics Fables, and like that's what it was supposed to be, Fables. But then something happened. DC was being a dick or something, or I don't know, and then they just made it their own thing. But you can clearly tell they got a lot of inspiration from Fables. But yeah, if they did Jack and Sally, I think it would be cool. Like, because again, they've gone to Oz, they've gone to Neverland, so it'd be cool to like have them go to Halloween Town and say it's another part of the fairy tale world. And Jack and Sally, I think you can keep normal, and maybe you could have Jack as like not really an antagonist per se. He's just trying to like maybe you could have it like he sees the world of Storybrooke, and he's like, oh, I can make it better. I can make I can use this for Halloween Town. This is the inspiration I need. He's not really being evil for, he's not really being an antagonist on purpose. He just wants to, like, I would take the story of Nightmare Before Christmas and have it that Jack wants to bring, Storybrooke to his world and kind of, like, make it his own. He wants to make, all of those fairy tales come true, or something like that. So, thank you for that question. And your final question is, do you think Jack is the best representation of the spirit of Halloween? And if not, who else could you see lay claim to that title? I think Jack is the best representation of the spirit of Halloween. If not, Sam Hain, if you know that legend, Woo, that legend. But I think Jack is a good representation of that. And I totally botched that word. Anyway, so I think it would be cool to see him. I think that's the best way you could do it, because he does really embody everything in Halloween. He is the Pumpkin King, so you can't really take that away from him. Okay, so thank you for those questions, Omnitron. Next comes Burnouter7, who asks Burnouter7, whose first question is, what do you think of the revisited soundtrack? Ooh, I love the revisited soundtrack. I think it's. They picked a lot of people, all the right people. Let me rephrase that. They picked all the right people to do these songs. Like, of course, Marilyn Manson for "This Is Halloween." Korn's rendition of "Kidnap the Sandy Claus" is awesome. Amy Lee's version of Sally's song is phenomenal. I think she just knocked it out of the park. Amy Lee, very good vocalist. I think she was perfect for this song. The only one I kind of feel like just didn't work for me, personally, was Flyleaf's version of What's This? It just didn't feel like it had that same kind of energy. I actually found the Fall Out Boy version of What's This, and I was like, man, this is what I really want. It's full of speed. It's got its own. It's very up tempo. It's very fast paced, and still make it its own version, but still keeps true to the song. Where Flyleaf's is kind of grungy, and I'm like, this song's supposed to make you feel all happy and full of wonder, not angry. That's not the point, and that's what I got. If you like Flyleaf, that's totally fine. I like Flyleaf as well. But I feel like they dropped the ball on that one. And I kind of wish, why didn't you go for the revisited soundtrack? Why didn't you go with Fall Out Boys? But Rise Against Making Christmas is really good. Tiger Army's Oogie Boogie version. The Yuriko Brothers version of Kidnap the Sandy Claus, that's awesome. Just that oriental sound to it with the violin. Oh, it's awesome. I think there's it's the Yoshida Brothers, excuse me. It's the not Yuriko Brothers, the Yoshida Brothers, excuse me. But yeah, there's a lot, and again, it's just the Flyleaf song that hits the snag with me. All the other ones are really good, and I don't know. Maybe it's just me that just doesn't like the Flyleaf song, but I'm comparing it. I'm like, the Fall Out Boy version was a little bit better. But that's just my opinion. If you like the Flyleaf one of the Fall Out Boy version of What's This, it's totally fine. No ill will against you. So, in conclusion, yeah, I really do like that song. I really do like it. So your second question is, what do you think of a Witch Nightmare Before Christmas crossover? Something like Oogie Boogie, wanting to get the heart of Kandrigar, and from Will, and would you want to see? Let me try to rephrase this because I totally botched this. Would you like a Witch Nightmare Before Christmas crossover, something like Oogie Boogie wanting to get the heart of Kandrigar from Will? Would he want to get his seams on that? Okay. I could see him trying to get the heart of Kandrigar and corrupting it, maybe. It would be a lot of fun, because again, you see them go to all these different worlds, from all the characters from which go to different worlds. So I think it'd be cool to see them travel into this world, and Cornelia would not have this. She would, and Tirani and Cornelia, they would bitch the entire time and freak out. Whereas I think Haylin would have the most fun. Oh man, Haylin would have the most fun, I'm just saying. So yeah, I think it would be cool. And the final question is, what would happen if Danny Phantom went to Halloween Town? Ooh, good question. What would happen if Danny Phantom went to Halloween Town? I think he would fit right in, because again, if he ever went to Halloween Town, it'd just be like going to the Ghost Zone. But I think everyone would not try to kill him, excluding Oogie Boogie. But I think it would be hilarious. Like, he goes in there and everyone's like, oh, another ghost! This is amazing! Because you notice how in Halloween Town, they're just there to scare you. They're not there to kill you. They even say in the song, you know, life's no fun without a good scare, but that's our job, that's our job, but we're not mean. You know, it's all in good fun. So they look scary, but I think they would all be like, oh, another monster! Oh, that's amazing! Here, come on, hang out with us. And Danny would be like, I am totally weirded out here. And I think that's with a lot of these other crossovers, like with Ruby Gloom and Invader Zim. The people of Halloween Town aren't hostile. They would just be like, oh, cool, another monster! Hey, come here, hang out with us. So that's how I see it. So I think of those questions, Burnouter. The Spawn 117 asks, what's your favorite song from the Revisited album? Mine's the remixed version of This Is Halloween by Marilyn Manson. I'm going to answer this because, unlike Burnouter, he said, what did I think of the soundtrack on a whole? The Spawn here is just asking, what's my favorite song from the album? So, one guy's asking a specific song, the other one's was asking the album on a whole, so I'm going to answer this one. So, what do I think of The Nightmare? It was my favorite song from it. I don't know. I think they're all really good in their own right, but I think one that I just love listening to over and over again, damn, this is really hard. I think one I really enjoy listening to the most is either Making Christmas, the Rise Against version of Making Christmas, and the Korn version of Kidnap the Sandy Claus. Because again, hearing the likes of, the band of Korn screaming la 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 la, going la 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 la, and they also make the song very brutal. Like when they say, kidnap the Sandy Claus, beat him with a stick, it almost sounds like they want to go out, kick down Santa Claus's front door, drag him out of his bed, and make him kiss the curb. If you've ever seen American History X, you'll know what I'm talking about. Oh, man. So, thank you for that question. The Spawn, your second question is, what would happen if Alucard, Hellboy, Ash from Evil Dead, Bigby Wolf from The Wolf Among Us, and Agent Venom were teleported to Halloween Town? What would be their reactions? So let's go one by one. I think on a whole, all of them would just feel at home. I mean, obviously they'd be freaked out to no end. I mean, Ash would definitely, he'd think, oh, there's Deadites everywhere. Bang! and that would just be of just seeing Ash run around through Halloween Town, cutting up everything. That's something that would be terrifying. But Hellboy and whereas Hellboy, Big B, and Hellboy, Alucard, and Big B, they'd be more like, because again, the people of Halloween Town, Oogie Boogie excluded, they're not really hostile beings per se. I mean, Lock, Shock, and Barrel are his minions, and they're kind of hostile in their own right. But on the other hand, everyone on a whole is not there to hurt people. They're just, and I think Alucard would be very much at home. He'd look at the other vampire, like he would look at the trio of vampires in Halloween Town and just be like, ugh, I can't believe I dressed like that a few centuries ago. And that's the same thing with Hellboy. He's a very reasonable person. So I could see Hellboy like pull out his gun, and then Jack be like, "Oh, you're a demon. Hello. You ain't gonna fight me? No. Why would I do that? Okay, let's go have a beer." I think Flash Thompson would also. I think again they'd be very accepting because the only one I can see like trying to kill everyone is Ash, because I think he's had enough of undead people. So thank you for that question. Your final question is, what do you think of a Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare Before Christmas crossover? Yeah, the Nightmare Before Elm Street, or the night, I don't even know what to call that mixed title. I'm sorry. The Nightmare Before Christmas on Elm Street. I don't know. So. Anyway, I think it would be interesting because again, Freddy would be there with hostile intentions, and I think it would be interesting to see him try to use Oogie's power for his own, and someone for Jack to combat. But again, it would just be in dreams, and here's the thing: is that Freddy uses nightmares, but however, I would imagine that nightmares are good dreams for the people of Halloween Town. So I think it would be Freddy using good dreams to hurt people, like they're dreaming about kittens or teddy bears or stuff like that, and it's freaking them out, stuff like that. So that's a nice little reversal right there. Let's see. So I think those are all your questions. Next comes Robert Avram. Hope I'm saying that last name right. His question is: have you ever played the game, and if you did, how was it, and should I play it for nostalgia feeling? I've only played a little of the game. It's kind of like a sequel to the original movie, but Jack gets to have all these like cool powers. Like he can become like the burning pumpkin skull you saw in the opening movie. The opening of the movie, he can become. He uses all the like all these little pieces of the different holidays. It's really cool to see him use combat Oogie in all these powers. He also has a Kratos like whip called Soul Robber, and that's awesome. So it's a lot of fun. That's what I take away from it. It's a fun game. So maybe you could like it for nostalgia. I haven't played it in a long time, but if I played it again, I'd probably get nostalgia feels. So thank you for those questions, Robert. So next questions come from Alistair Boneman. First question is: if you were to write a Nightmare Before Christmas comic book, how would you write it? How would I write a Nightmare Before Christmas comic? Sorry, I had to take a drink. So, how would I write a Nightmare Before Christmas comic? Let's see. I think what I would like to do is kind of explore more of Halloween Town, like the world beyond it. Like, see like all these other parts of the world. Maybe introduce some new characters and, stuff like that. Kind of do some world expansion. Like, there's got to be more to Halloween Town than just the town itself. Like, there's other parts of the world. It can't just like be it can't be like in Coraline where there's only a certain limit and then it's just nothing but white space, right? So yeah, I think that's one of the things I would do. Second question is if you were to create villains or monsters for Jack and company to fight, who would they be and what would they do? if I was to create new villains for, Jack and the other, Jack and his, I guess, it's not really crew, it's just him, Sally, and Zero, but if I was to add more, maybe a few of the other monsters. But if I was to make new villains, maybe like parodies of like the extreme horror characters, like the ones we saw in like a parody of Jason, Freddy, and Leatherface, that are more like oh yeah, killing is scary, and we're gonna go, we're gonna take over and make Halloween really scary by killing people horribly. And Jack's like, no, it's all supposed to be in good fun. And yeah, something like the gore horror stuff. Like you see characters from like parody characters from The Hills Have Eyes, Jason, Freddy, Leatherface, Chucky, characters like those. Like they're parodies of those characters. That's what I would do. So your next question is, if you were to create villains or... Oh wait, that was your second question, so let me rephrase. Your third question is, what do you think Jack Skellington would make of the Holiday Guardians, aka Rise of the Guardians characters, and would he become or already be a Guardian? Okay. What would Jack think of the characters from Rise of the Guardians? I think it would be interesting because again, I've read some fan fiction of a lot of stories of Jack becoming a part of the Guardians, and it would make sense too. I mean, he's more or less the king of the Pumpkin King and the leader of Halloween. I think it would be interesting, and again, he would be very cheerful, and he'd be like, "Oh, hello everyone," and everyone would be freaked out that they have to work with a talking skeleton. I think that would be the best part of it all. So yeah. Thank you for that question. Those questions, Alistair Boneman. Next comes Wolfman the Impaler. First question: if you were a resident of Halloween Town, what monster would you be? What monster would I be? Maybe Creature of the Black Lagoon or a werewolf? Maybe. Hellsing Nightmare Before Christmas crossover. What happens? Alucard is taking maybe we can have that Alucard is just taking a walk and then drawn to the middle of the forest and finds his way into Halloween Town, and he's accepted. He's immediately like, oh, I'm in a world full of monsters. Sweet. I don't know. Again, I can't really think of crossovers right off the bat, so yeah. Your third question is, if they were to do a remake with the same animation style, would you want it to be somewhat of a rock opera or keep it the way it was? Okay, if they were to do a remake of Nightmare Before Christmas instead of a sequel, I would scream out of rage. Somewhat of a rock opera, like maybe something like Rocky Horror, I guess. That's a scary image. Because I would probably like that. But same animation, same stop motion, like you said. Maybe give it a little more rock opera. Because if they kept it the way it was, then it would just be the same movie over again. So maybe give it more of a rock opera feel. If that's the case, just give it a sequel. So thank you for those questions, Wolfman the Impaler. Next questions come from Dylan Malone 14. First question is, do you think Jack Skellington can work with the heroes of the DC universe? If so, how so? If so, how? Excuse me. I think the characters he could work best with are like Deadman, Deadman, Madame Xanadu, just a few of those DC supernatural characters for the most part. I did think about doing for a while back. I thought about doing like a Batman Nightmare Before Christmas story of. And there's actually a really good one called, I think it's called something along the lines of The Master of Fear. It was based off it was the 90s Batman, or was it a Batman? It's on fanfiction, and it focuses on Jack Skellington versus the Scarecrow. And it's a really good story. And, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it focuses on Lock, Shock, and Barrel, as well. I don't want to say what plot they have, but it's a really good story. I can't remember if it's like based in the 90s, if it's supposed to be based off the 90s animation, or it's Batman in of itself. I can't remember. So yeah. Think that question, Dylan Malone. What is your favorite fanfic? I guess favorite fanfic pertaining to Nightmare Before Christmas. I think my favorite is a crossover between MLP and Nightmare Before Christmas. The story is, and I've reviewed it before. I think I have reviewed it before, where it's a three chapter story, but it's really kid friendly, and it's a lot of fun. The story is that it talks about the story of where was Rarity during Nightmare Night. And it turns out that she was trying to get a costume together, and she accidentally stumbles into Halloween Town and befriends Jack. And the rest of the main six go out to find Halloween, go to Halloween Town to rescue her, even though she doesn't really need rescuing. And the fun part is the costumes they were wearing during Nightmare Night they literally become those characters. Like Twilight becomes a younger version of Starswirl the Bearded, and there's a lot of cool Dungeons and Dragons jokes. Fluttershy, she jumped into some bushes. She wasn't wearing a costume, but she jumped into like a pile of branches and stuff, and she became a living tree. Rainbow Dash became a Shadow Bolt. Applejack literally became a Scarecrow. Stuff like that. And then, while this is going on, while they're trying to find Rarity, who puts on a costume and becomes the Pumpkin Queen, no lie. Meanwhile, this is going on, Zecora, Luna, and Spike are trying to keep everyone in Ponyville awake and okay, because Luna has to keep the night going, because if the daylight shows up, the door's gone. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of hilarity, good jokes. And there's also a nice little cover of Kidnap the Sandy Claus done in like a fun version. Also, Lock, Shock, and Barrel really want a pony. So that's my favorite one. Anyway, so thank you for that question. Your third question is, how would you write Jack's origin story as a comic book? I think I would have it, maybe not like he died or something, but maybe like he was created out of a pumpkin patch and something like that. I don't know what I would do for his origin, honestly. I really can't think of anything for his origin, because I don't want to go the whole sad sob story of, oh, he died, in a pumpkin patch or stuff. Because I feel like some of these characters are just created out of, created out of the world. Something like that, I don't know. But I can't really think of an origin for him right off the bat, because they tried to do that, The Rise of the Pumpkin King, as a little video game. I remember that, and all they said was, oh, he's just become the Pumpkin King, and we're not going to explain his backstory. Yeah, it was called, yeah. It was a little video, it was like a Nintendo game, it was like a little Game Boy game. But anyway, how would you... Oh, wait, that was all your questions, so thank you for those questions, Dylan Malone. Next comes Matt Kaiser, who asks, what would the Sailor Scouts, Crystal Gems, TMNT, Main Six, and Ghostbusters think of the characters of Nightmare Before Christmas? Sailor Scouts, they'd all be terrified and run... Well, I think they would be like trying to be like, oh, they're not trying to hurt us, so they're not trying to kill us. Yay! The Crystal Gems, Steven would have the most fun. Is like, they're all terrifying and make me want to vomit, but they're my friends. The Ninja Turtles, they'd be like, well, we're stuck in a world full of monsters. Great. And Ghostbusters would be trying to bust everybody. Because, again, it's really hard to say, like, how would they react to one another. Because, again, it's not really like, oh, we'll fight you. It's more like they'll look at, especially the Turtles and the Main Six, they'll be like, oh, you guys are monsters. Oh, that's not... Well, I think they'd be terrified of the ponies, because I just talked about an MLP Nightmare Before Christmas crossover and how they literally became their costumes. But I think with the other ones, they would be like, oh, come here, you're monsters, that's cool. So I don't know. So thank you for that question, Matt Kaiser. Next questions come from Sleepyhead Extreme, who first question is, if a sequel was made, what would it be about? I think a sequel would be... I think how I would do a sequel is something along the lines of, maybe Jack wants to repay Santa Claus for ruining the holiday. He just mucks it all up. After mucking it up so many times, well, not so long ago. Let me rephrase that. And he decides, you know what? I'll help Santa Claus by going on a few rounds with him, and shenanigans ensue, I guess. Something along those lines. Sleepyhead. Okay, your second question is Sleepyhead is favorite background monster. Gonna answer this one because Jason was asking favorite monster design. Favorite background monster is. I think my favorite background monster is all of them. I really like the designs of all of them. I like they're all little characters here and there. Sorry, drinking. So yeah, I think my favorite, if I was to pick one, it would be the one I talked about for favorite design. That would be my favorite background monster. If Nightmare Before Christmas had an ongoing comic and you were in charge with the first arc, at least, what would you write? I think someone already asked me this. If I was to do a comic book, yeah, just expand the world. So someone already beat you to that question, Sleepyhead. I'm sorry, but I've already answered that question. Marcus Keener asks, if Jack went back to the holiday forest again, what holiday would you like to see him in? Well, I've seen in College Humor's version of where he goes into St. Patrick's Day. I can only imagine what St. Patrick's Day world is really like. No one can remember because everyone would be so shit-faced. I remember seeing that in College Humor. I think another world would be a lot of fun is him going to Easter. Thanksgiving would be probably boring because there'd just be food everywhere. Everyone would be like, let's be thankful. And Jack would be like, man, this is boring. Easter would be a lot of fun. Yeah, Easter would be fun. I'm trying to think of another one. Like maybe, New Year's Day would just be Happy New Year every day. Like them setting up for a new year every year. Hanukkah? No, just be doing the same thing. Oh, well, and besides, they did that for... they kind of did that in Robot Chicken. So, Easter. I'm going to put my money on Easter. If not Easter, St. Valentine's Day. I can only imagine what Jack would think of the other version of Concept of Love. I can only imagine. And your second question is, if Dipper and Mabel found their way into Halloween Town, what craziness would ensue, excuse me. Oh, the madness of those two getting into the world. I actually have this funny concept in my head of them doing a crossover where Dipper and Mabel are going through the woods, then Mabel and Dipper accidentally fall down like a hill, and they keep rolling until they land in a little patch of ground. Like, obviously, they're surrounded by trees, and they're all looking at the different holiday trees, and suddenly they all, like, Dipper's looking at one tree, and Mabel's looking at another, and Dipper's like, oh, where the hell do these trees come from? And what are these doors on? He's like, Dipper, and Mabel points to one tree, and you see the door to Halloween Town, the pumpkin door, and then it starts playing the theme, this is Halloween. It'd just be playing that theme, and then it just cuts off to be like, I had something clever. I had something clever for that. But yeah. That's what I would do for like a little promo for if they were doing a crossover. But them being in that world, that'd be a lot of fun. Because again, Dipper would just be very. I think he would just not trust any because he's had very bad experience with monsters. I think he wouldn't have the best experience with these monsters. Jack would just be trying to be friendly as he could. Oh God, I can only imagine Mabel with lock, shock, and barrel. I can't even. I can't even. So yeah, thank you for those questions, Marcus. Next questions come from Andre Partridge. First question is, what would Jack think of the Grinch if he accidentally found himself in Whoville? Jack Vert meets the Grinch. I think the Grinch would hate him right off the bat because Jack is so happy and he's very happy-go-lucky. Grinch would just look at him and be like, you. But yeah, and I think the whole concept of stealing presents and the Grinch would just be like, don't leave anything behind. We don't want to leave anything. That's the point of stealing the holiday. So I don't think they would get along at all. Second question is, do you think there is a chance of a possible sequel to the original Nightmare Before Christmas in the near future? I'm going to answer this because this is someone asking me, is there a chance of a possible sequel? I'm going to say no because it's a very self-contained movie. That's why I kind of struggled with the sequel. Because it's a very self-open shut movie. I've always wanted a sequel, but it all depends on, the storytelling. And for the most part, Tim Burton is not known for doing sequels to his films. I mean, you got Batman Returns, but other than that, have you ever seen a sequel from his other films? Only a small few of his movies have sequels. Very small. So, it's a very open-shut movie. I would love to see it, don't get me wrong, it's just I don't know what you could do with it. So think of that question. And your final question is, how do you think Jack and the other townsfolk would react if the Krampus came to Halloween Town? Okay, for those who don't know the Krampus is in some mythology of Christmas mythology. That the Krampus is this demon that follows Santa where he leaves presents, and he if you don't get a present from Santa, that thing comes to your house and beats you senseless with that whip, or in other cases throws you into a sack and then eats you later. So if the Krampus showed up, they'd be like, "Oh, this guy's pure evil. He's killing people. Oh God!" Actually, someone asked me if there could be any other villains for The Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm gonna take that back and say, the Krampus would make a really good villain. There you go. There's your sequel villain. The Krampus is trying to take over Christmas, and Jack teams up with Santa to stop it. There you go. I just came back and answered several other people's questions. A villain for a sequel, if there was another villain, I could create someone else's question about, what would I do for a sequel, and someone asking me about the Krampus. Boom! 3 birds with 1 stone. There you go. I'm sorry. So, next questions come from Bella Gaia 99. I do apologize if I completely butchered your YouTube name. So Bella Gaia 99 asks, if you could, which Tim Burton movie would you want to cross over with The Nightmare Before Christmas, and why? Corpse Bride. Everyone else has done it. It makes a lot of sense of having Corpse Bride in there. Edward Scissorhands and Shits and Giggles Sleepy Hollow. Let's do that. Let's have that. So that's there you go. Corpse Bride. Everyone else has talked about Nightmare Before Christmas and Corpse Bride. Why not? Edward Scissorhands would be also pretty good. So yeah. So your next question is, which Doctor and/or companion do you think would get along best with Jack and Sally? I think best doctors would get along with Jack, and and best companion would be 4th Doctor and Sarah Jane, and the 11th Doctor and Amy. There you go. Those two sets of doctors would get along very well with them. Because I think there would just be a lot of wonder to them. 10th Doctor, yeah, Tennant and Donna as well. So thank you for those questions, Bella Gaia, and I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Next question next set of questions come from ActionFan19, who asks, do you think Finkelstein could ever build a robot army like he did with skeletal reindeer? Didn't he have robots sitting around his laboratory? I think I saw a few robots in his laboratory. Maybe that's just me, but I'm pretty sure I saw some robots in or around the robot vicinity. I'm just saying. Your next question is, could you see yourself or any of your friends being buds with Jack? Yeah, I could be friends with Jack. That'd be a lot of fun, hanging out with the Pumpkin King. Most definitely. Third question is, what other unseen monsters do you think reside in Halloween Town? Oh, that's a good question. What other monsters could be running around in Halloween Town? What else could be hiding out in Halloween Town? I think one monster, I have this funny image in my head of Slender Man walking around the woods, just wandering around, and he's just just walks around in the woods, just meandering around. The Mothman, hiding out in the clock tower, just oh, it'd be better if the Mothman was the news reporter, because again, Mothman is always predicted with bad omens and stuff. So maybe you could have the Mothman as like the local news reporter for the frickin' for Halloween Town. And maybe Bigfoot, like he comes and goes in and out of Halloween Town, like that. Why anyone can't find Bigfoot is because whenever he's not wandering around the forest, he just he finds the door to Halloween Town, goes back in there, and is like, "Hey guys, I got photographed again. What? I like my nature walks." There you go. There's the reason why you see Bigfoot, but you never find out where he's hiding. He's a nature guy. Bigfoot's a hippie. There you go. So there's a few monsters in mind, action fan. Next question comes from Boo Rat 1, who asks, if they ever to make a sequel, okay, if they did make a sequel, what would you want the Japanese game's plot? Huh? There was a Japanese game? I guess you're talking about Revenge of Ogi. I don't know, and I've kind of answered this already, if they were to make a sequel, and talked about a game plot, so yeah. Favorite song, and will you sing it? No, I won't sing it, and I already answered this question. So I've already answered two of those of said questions. And your third question is, how would Beetlejuice cartoon or movie version, it's up to you, crossover go in your own take? So Beetlejuice crossed over with Nightmare Before Christmas. Huh. I think it would work really well. Beetlejuice just annoying the shit out of Jack. I think Jack wouldn't put up with a lot of his crap. I think you'd just be like, seriously, dude, go away. You are annoying. Lydia hanging out with Sally would be a lot of fun. Jack and Beetlejuice fighting sandworms, that would be totally awesome. I'm going by animated, because I think the Beetlejuice cartoon is a lot of fun. Bella Gaia asks questions, but it's the same questions as before. And finally, we have Darth Venom, who asks, what would God think of Jack? I don't know, really. I don't think... I think pertaining to the Jesus advice, I think God would say the same thing, like, really don't do this again. You really dropped the ball here. I don't know what God would think of Jack, honestly. Okay, second question is, how would the Simpson family react to the characters from Night Before Christmas? I think it would be a lot of fun to see, like, maybe the Simpsons are going on Lisa forces them on a nature walk, and then they find their way to the door, to the holiday doors. Homer opens one thinking it's pumpkin pie. Mysterious pumpkin pie. And hilarity ensues. That's all I got. But one more thing. Bart, Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Dear Lord, God help us all. So, yeah. Final question is, what would you think if Cable, Deadpool, Batman, Hellboy, Nick Fury, Thanos, King Leonidas, Ian, and Anthony from Smoosh wound up in Halloween Town? I already talked about Hellboy in Halloween Town, but Cable and Deadpool, Cable would try to find his way out of there. Deadpool would not leave until the people of Halloween Town kicked him out. Batman would just be right at home. Nick Fury would be like, I don't want to be here. Thanos would wipe it out. Thanos would completely destroy it. King Leonidas would just be like, why am I here? He would be so out of place. He would just look around and be like, my dad, is this the afterlife? All I remember is arrows, then I wound up here. I think I got the wrong turn to the afterlife. Ian and Anthony, I do not watch Smoosh. Sorry. So that's the only one I can't really answer. But the other ones, yeah, Thanos would just look at the place and be like, I'm going to wipe it out because that's what I do. So, yeah. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for the questions. A lot of good ones in here. Sorry for the crossover questions. I kind of, because I've always said, I got to tell you guys, as always, whenever you guys ask me a crossover question, it's always like, I can't really think of a crossover right off the bat. I got to sit and let my mind fester on it. So, I'm sorry I kind of give a little half-ass questions. on the crossover ones. I tried my best. That's all I can say. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm surprised I got a lot of questions as I did. I literally, when I did the Nightmare Before Christmas Q&A, when I thought about doing a Nightmare Before Christmas Q&A, I literally said to myself, wait a minute, is anyone going to go for this? And I'm really glad I got a good turnout for this. But anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I'm out.